Alright, welcome back everybody. Today we have a sick new trading indicator strategy for you today. It's super dirty. It's on the 1 minute candles. Should be able to make you some quick scalping profit. So the first indicator we're going to put onto the chart here is one of my favorites is the Accuracy RSI oscillator. Let's put this right here on the chart. So the oscillator looks kind of wonky, so we're going to go through and we're going to edit some of the indicator portion, some of the inputs here. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to change our length to 34 and the open smoothing to 7. Everything else is fine. On style, you're going to get rid of RSI histogram, and then you're going to change the OB extremes and OB extreme and OS extreme to pure white and pure white, opacity all the way up, and then line to dashed, right? White, opacity all the way up, and then the line type to dashed. Alright, so the Accuracy RSI calculation down here, what it does is it takes it's an oscillator format that's derived from those RSI calculations, but it's aimed at smoothing out some of that other noise that's seen with traditional RSI indicators. It also has the HARSI candles, which are generally pretty poor to trade on for the most part, but it's always great to kind of see that flow, that trend, and see how the price action is moving. The next indicator we're going to pop on the chart here is the Keltner Channels. If I can spell it right, Keltner Channels. The length and multiplier on this is totally fine. What you want to do here, though, is change the time frame. It's defaulted to chart, which is 1 minute, right? But if we take that and we crank it up to 10 minutes, what that does, yeah, it makes it look a little wider, but what it does is it takes away a lot of the choppiness. Any kind of static markets, any kind of range markets, it will help alleviate some of those poor decision making that you have during that time frame. It'll eliminate some of the bad signals. The Keltner channels are volatility-based envelopes that are set above and beyond an EMA, right? So this indicator is similar to Bollinger Bands, which kind of use the standard deviation, but instead of standard deviation, it uses the ATR, the average true range, to set the channel distance, right? Those channel distances are typically set at 2 average ranges, but I'm using that 2 range, right? I'm using the multiplier, that 2, but I'm picking that time frame a little higher to get rid of some of the noise because we are scalping on such a small time frame of 1 minute. If you wanted to kind of leverage this up, right? So if you wanted to trade on the 5 minute, right, you'd probably want to take your Keltner channels and turn them a little, crank them up maybe to 30 minutes. Again, just to kind of alleviate that noise. So now that we have this both up on the chart, that's it for indicators, which is great. So now we're going to look at a buy position first, okay? Here we are on the Bitcoin USD. The first thing we're looking for on this indicator to kind of set our gears in motion is to see price action dip below, for this bullish position, dip below the lower Keltner channel. Okay, so as we go through, we see it goes below. Boom, wow. We also look down here and we see the red HARSI candles. Again, indicative of a bearish momentum, bearish movement, but we also see that RSI, the yellow line here, dips below the white lower level, the level that we made during our setup, right? So once it dips below this white bar, we're going to be looking for a bullish position, okay? So, but when do we get in? So we get in when we see the first green HARSI candle. And you can see it's still red, well below the Keltner channel. And then we see our first green candle. You jump in there, set your stop loss intelligently. And I always go 1-to-1 because it's better to make singles and doubles than to try to hit for home runs every time. And it takes a while, but it definitely hits it, right? So the price action has gone all the way over, so we're good to go there. And you can see that this bullish position entered positively, right? So that's the bullish position, right? So 1-to-1 ratio. If you want to be super safe, you can always pick the middle Keltner channel as kind of like your exit point as well. That works really well, especially if you don't know, if you can't tell if the market is in a bullish or bearish range. So, all right, now for a bearish position, right? So we see that our stock is going up. We see the RSI creeping over that top white bar on our HARSI indicator right there. And the RSI, the yellow line itself, is also kind of creeping around. So we're going to be on the eye. We're going to look to see if price goes up over the top of the Keltner channel. And we'll see what happens, right? So, boom. So it wicked up right there. So it definitely went over this Keltner channel top right here. So now we're on the lookout for a red HARSI candle. And whoa, right away, we see it right there. So you enter there, take that to the most recent swing high, bring this down to 1-to-1, or the middle Keltner channel, whatever you're more comfortable with. And then we're just gonna play the simulation. Got profited out right around here. Here we are looking at another bullish position. Play the simulation. We're gonna look for price action to peak below, which it did right there with a huge wick, but it peaked below the bottom of this Keltner channel. So now we're gonna keep an eye on it and look for that green HARSI candle to indicate that we're finally moving around. And boom, there it is, right away. Okay. So if we jump in right at the end of this candle, we don't want to take our position and then say this is the lower swing low, because that doesn't make any sense. So we're going to be a little more reasonable with this. And as we look at the whole big picture, we can see that the top of the middle of the Keltner channel right there is right there. So if we take, and we're smart with our stop loss and we're smart with our price action, right, we can see what makes more sense for a position in this situation, right? So we can play the simulation. And then you can see the Keltner channel tightening up here because the price action is moving closer and closer to the mean. So if you notice that, you can move this closer in case you're worried about taking profit and getting out. And that's, trade management is a big part of this. I just don't trade blindly. I trade and then micromanage my positions to make sure I'm always profitable, right? And that's what you should do as well. So you can see we stopped out there, but if you let it keep playing, it will go up a little higher, which it did right here, to my original take profit location there. All right, here we are in another bearish position. So we can see our Keltner channels, our price action is going up. We're going to be looking to maybe jump in a bearish position if it makes sense, right? We are looking for price action to pop over the top of that Keltner channel. And it might, there it is right there. So you can see that wick jumped all the way up there. So now we're still seeing green HARSI candles, so we're going to keep an eye out for a red one. And there's one right there. And price action often does this, right? It hits an area of resistance and it bounces down. So there we go. We go and take this maybe to the top of the channel. And then we can bring this down 1-to-1. And then we'll just play the simulation. And boom, it hits it right away, right? In fact, it might even go further all the way to the middle, as you see, and it even bounced right there on the middle, because ATR is an indicator a lot of traders use, right? So that's a bull and a bear position. I do want to mention that if you don't want to trade 1 minute and you wanted to go up to different time frames, as long as you pick a Keltner channel time frame, a time frame that makes more sense to your trading style, that's possible as well, right? That just helps weed out bad trades, is that time frames, right? So it's important to make sure that you pick one that is perfect for your trading. All right, that's all I got today, guys. Thanks so much for checking in, and we'll see you next time.